And good day, pre-algebra. We are starting book number 3 with a PO46, creating a function table for a given equation. And so you see, a whole bunch of equations down here. Y equals x plus 3, y equals negative 2x, y equals 5x minus 8, and so forth. What we're interested in doing, and we'll get back to the definitions just a bit here, is we're going to make a function table. Also called an input-output table, which ultimately is going to give us solutions to the equations. For example, if I asked you for what is the value of x and y in that first equation, what could you tell me? You don't know? Why don't you know? If I said, let's say this equation was 10 equals x plus 3, and I told you to solve for x, what would you tell me?
That would be 7.
7, right? Because 7 plus 3 is equal to 10. But why can't you tell me what x and y are when it's y equals x plus 3? Yes, in the back. Exactly, because you've got two variables here, right? The value of y kind of depends on what x is, okay? And so that's where this function table comes into play. We are going to make two columns, one being the x column and one being the y column. And we are going to say, well, let's say x is 7. If x is 7, what is y? 10. Okay? Give me something else you want x to be. Anthony, pick a number.
Oh, like 5.
Sure. If x is 5, now our equation becomes y equals 5 plus 3. What does y equal? 8. Give me another number. Landon. 12. Okay? If x is 12, now again, kind of changes things. If x is 12, y would be what? 15. 12 plus 3. Okay? So what we made here is a function table, also called an input-output table. The input, the x value there is kind of what we picked, is what we plugged into the equation first. It's what we put into the equation. And what we got out of it, the y value, we would call the output. Okay? So the input is typically, well, let's go here. It's what is plugged into the equation right? That's why it's called the input. It's what's plugged into the equation. Another way to think about it, it's what is being tested, right? We were testing what y is when x is 7. Then we said, okay, what's y when x is 5? And then, okay, what's y when x is 12, right? We put those into the equation to get out the y value. Okay? You've probably talked about inputs and outputs in science experiments before, perhaps, right? That input is kind of what the variable is. It's what's being tested. Okay? What science experiments have you done throughout your time here? All the way back to kindergarten or whatever. Can you come up with any? You didn't like grow any bean plants or anything? No? That's a very common like kindergarten, first grade science thing where you section off a planter, you plant 4 seeds, and one section gets like a certain type of soil, different from the others. One section you water more. One section, you're not. Have you had science class here? No science class? Okay, well, all right. This also must teach like double lit then. That's why it's the math there. But anyway, it's what's being tested. It's oftentimes that variable in a science experiment. It's the different soil, it's the different water, the quantity, or whatever else. It's what you're putting into it, right? And then the output is typically what the equation equals. Another way to put it is the result, right? The result of plugging in whatever we did for x. The result of plugging in 7 for x was 10. The result of plugging in 5 for x was 8. The result of plugging in 12 for x is 15. And what the function table does is it relates the input and output values to create ordered pairs to be graphed. And that's ultimately where we're heading with this, right? Relates the input and output values to create ordered pairs to be graphed. So this relationship, 7, 10, right? That represents the ordered pair, 7, 10. Perhaps you recognize that notation. Numbers in parentheses separated by a comma. 7 on the x-axis, 10 on the y-axis. 5, 8 would be 5, 8, right? And then x is 12, y is 15. That would be the ordered pair 12, 15. They're solutions to the equation y equals x plus 3. How we doing? Okay. Let's make an input output table, a function table for the next one here. Y equals negative 2x. I keep meaning to write in green, but I keep grabbing the black marker. So, what do you want x to be? Adrian, pick a number.
4.
4. If x is 4, if we plug 4 into the equation, 4x, so now it says y equals negative 2 times 4. What do we get out of it? What's the result? Negative 8, right? Negative 2 times 4 equals negative 8. The input, you don't really have to do a lot of math for. The input, you're just picking something, right? It's the output, it's the results that you actually have to calculate. Lily, give me a number. 2. If we plug in 2 for x, and so now our equation says y equals negative 2 times 2, what's the result? What's the output? Peyton, what do you get?
Negative 4.
Negative 4. Okay? When x is 2, y is negative 4. Who else can I pick on? I already picked on you, William. I already picked on Penelope. Give me a number.
3.
3. If we input 3 into the equation, and so now it says y equals negative 2 times 3, what is the output? What is the result? Everybody in unison. Okay, countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Good job. Negative 6. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. That is the result. Okay? You didn't hear that resounding response on YouTube. The audio must have cut out for a split second there. Any questions? Right? Do the next one on your own. Make a function table, an xy table for y equals 5x minus 8. Your answers are all going to be different because you're all doing this individually. Pick a value for x, plug that in to the equation, and see what the result is. What is the output? The directions say do at least 4 of them. I've only been doing 3 because that's all I can fit. But if you can write so that you can fit 4, that would be dandy. And let's see. Scarlett, what'd you pick? Pick a number. 3. If x is 3, then Scarlett's equation would read y equals 5 times 3 minus 8. This is a two-stepper, right? You got to multiply 5 by 3 first and then subtract 8. 5 times 3 is 15, minus 8 is 7. And so when x is 3, the result, the y value is 7. Tristan, give me a number. Pick a number. You can't be wrong unless you pick 3. 8. Okay? This time, if x is 8, Tristan's equation would be y equals 5 times 8 minus 8. Right? Everything else stays the same except we're just replacing x, in this case with 8. 5 times 8 is 40. Minus 8 is 32. When x is 8, y is 32. All right? The input and the output. Maya! 5. You knew exactly what I was asking for. Right? If x is 5, this time you're multiplying 5 by 5 and then subtracting 8. 5 times 5 is 25, minus 8 is 17. And so when x is 5, y is 17. Okay? Inputs, outputs, tables. You are picking something, you want to test what x is, you plug it in, what's the result, what's the output, that would be the value for y. And we're actually going to stop here today. I didn't want to get too far in, just a taste of what's coming up. So we'll definitely pick this up tomorrow and go from there. Okay? Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, comments, congratulations, or criticisms from you? Very well. That is how you math.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Thank you very much.